Healthy Eating Research, or HER Guidelines, is a national program of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. The guidelines allow food pantries to identify the healthiest and most nutrient-dense food items by using a chart for each food group with examples of foods that should be consumed often, sometimes, or rarely. For our first food group, let's take a look at the metrics in the fruits and vegetables category for foods that are choose often, choose sometimes, and choose rarely. Keep in mind that even 100% fruit juice and 100% plain dried fruit are choose sometimes items. Here are some example foods: fresh, canned, frozen, and dried fruits and vegetables, frozen cauliflower with cheese sauce, applesauce, tomato sauce, 100% fruit juice, and 100% fruit popsicles. Let's review the metrics in the grains category. Keep in mind that all choose often grains must have whole grain listed as the first ingredient. Here are some example foods: bread, rice, pasta, and grains with seasoning mixes. Now let's take a look at the metrics in the proteins category. Here are some example foods: animal proteins including beef, pork, poultry, sausage, deli meats, hot dogs, and eggs, and plant proteins including nuts, seeds, veggie burgers, soy, beans, and peanut butter. Let's review the metrics in the dairy category. Here are some example foods: milk, cheese, and yogurt. Next, we'll take a look at the metrics in the non-dairy alternatives category. Here are some example foods: all plant-based milks, yogurts, and cheeses. Let's take a look at the metrics in the beverages category for drinks that are choose often, choose sometimes, and choose rarely. Here are some example drinks: water, soda, coffee, tea, sports drinks, and non-100% juice products. For our next category, let's look at the metrics for mixed dishes. Here are some example foods: frozen meals, soups, stews, and macaroni and cheese. For the processed and packaged snacks category, there are no choose often foods. All foods are either choose sometimes or choose rarely. Keep in mind that if it's a grain snack, the first ingredient must be whole grain. Here are some example foods: chips, including potato, corn, and other vegetable chips, crackers, granola and other bars, and popcorn. For the desserts category, all foods are choose rarely. Here are some example foods: ice cream, frozen yogurt, chocolate, cookies, cakes, pastries, snack cakes, baked goods, and cake mixes. Now we're going to do an exercise where we'll use the HER Guidelines nutritional criteria in the previous slides to identify the food group. For our first example, let's take a look at sardines. What food group does this example belong to? Fruit, grain, or protein? Now let's look at low-sodium tomato soup. What food group does this belong to? Fruit, dairy, or vegetable? Next, we have full-fat yogurt. What food group does this example belong to? Grain, dairy, or non-dairy alternative? Let's take a look at whole wheat pasta. What food group does this example belong to? Protein, fruit, or grain? Our next example is chocolate soy milk. What food group does this example belong to? Protein, dairy, or non-dairy alternative? Now we have kale. What food group does this example belong to? Vegetable, fruit, or protein? Next, let's look at coconut water. What food group does this example belong to? Vegetable, fruit, or beverage? For our next example, we have potato chips. What food group does this example belong to? Vegetable, processed snack, or beverage? Now let's take a look at the answers. For our first example, we have sardines. The food category is protein. Next, let's look at tomato soup. The food category is fruit. Next, we have full-fat yogurt. The food category is dairy. Let's look at wheat pasta. The food category is grain. Next, we have chocolate soy milk. The food category is non-dairy alternative. After that, we have kale. The food category is vegetable. Next, we have coconut water. The food category is beverage. Finally, we have chips. The food category is snack. When determining how frequently a food should be consumed, it is important to examine the nutritional facts to confirm whether a food should be consumed often, sometimes, or rarely. Pantry offerings should be low in sodium, sugar, and saturated fat content. The key nutritional facts you should look out for include serving size information, calorie information, nutrient amounts, and percentage of daily values. Now we're going to do an exercise where we'll use the Her Guidelines nutritional criteria in the previous slides to determine if each example should be eaten often, sometimes, or rarely. For our first example, let's look at macaroni and cheese. It has 3 grams of saturated fat, 900 milligrams of sodium, and 0 grams of added sugar. How frequently should this example be consumed? Often, sometimes, or rarely? Next, we have cauliflower with cheese. It has 1.5 grams of saturated fat, 390 milligrams of sodium, and 0 grams of added sugar. How frequently should this example be consumed? Often, sometimes, or rarely? Let's take a look at sardines. Sardines have 300 milligrams of total sodium, 2 grams of saturated fat, and 0 grams of trans fat. How frequently should this example be consumed? Often, sometimes, or rarely? Now we have kale. Kale has 0 milligrams of total sodium, 0 grams of saturated fat, and 0 grams of trans fat. How frequently should this example be consumed? Often, sometimes, or rarely? Next, we have applesauce. It has 0 grams of saturated fat, 0 milligrams of sodium, and 0 grams of added sugar. How frequently should this example be consumed? Often, sometimes, or rarely? Now let's review the answers. For macaroni and cheese, it's choose rarely because of the high sodium content. For cauliflower with cheese, it's choose sometimes also because of the sodium content. Sardines should be chosen often. After that, we have kale. It's choose often. Finally, we have applesauce. It's choose often.